Welcome back to Bill's Retro Stuff. Started working on this Kenwood and I wanted to test it on my last video, and I could not figure out why, for the life of me, the relays didn't click in, because they clicked in before after I took the amplifiers out. So I had to kind of look around and check around. The problem was it did not have the heatsink, so there was no grounding through the whole circuit. So now I'm going to show you that the switch does indeed, at least that part works. So we'll go ahead and plug it back in. And you should be able to hear the relays click. Once I turn the switch on, then the relays. So that was kind of bothering me a little bit. So once I put the heatsink in, everything's grounded back in, it seemed to work. So what I want to do now is what I like to do is let's go ahead and finish putting the amplifiers in and kind of getting everything back together and our lights back in. So let me go ahead and flip this around. What I done is I went ahead and set the heatsink in, because we might as well just go ahead and put it in. And we're going to get ready to lay the actually I need to flip it around. Flip this around here real quick. I'll go ahead and put the amps in. Funny thing with the amps are that the ones that I wanted came in. The ones I wanted came in, but I didn't really want to use those because I found another version I liked even better. Well, not even better, but they were just newer. They were a newer style. Remember, on the last video I told you about the 007s and stuff like that. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and check these to make sure that these are fairly alright, or I guess to my thing I'm doing alright. So I put this in diode mode. I don't know if you can see that, so I'm going to turn that light down just a little bit so you can at least see. I'm going to lay this in here. I'll bring this down just a smidge here. I can bring it down towards me a bit. I bought this anti-static mat, but to be honest with you, it's starting to become a real pain in the bottom side. So let me get something to prop this up with. We're going to tinker with some 3D printing here eventually, and we'll build us some things to help us out. So here's our, hopefully you can see it. Looks like it's all in the video. Here's our transistors. Let me see what the paper said. Let me see if I can find my paper on this now. It told me what it was supposed to be, but don't see it now. So, oh, I know where it's at. These are the new ones. So according to the paper I have found, it says to check 0, 1, 0, 2, 1 and 2, and then 7 and 8, 7 and 9, and 8 and 9. So let's go ahead and let's check 0 and 1 to begin with. Let's see what it is. So 0 and 1. So let's do on this side first. So let's go 0 and 1. And we do have resistance in there, it looks like. And let me put it in diode mode. There we go. So there's 680 whatever they check. So that actually checks good. Now I'll say 0 and 2. And there's nothing there, so let's flip the leads around. Okay, so that's open. So okay, so I think on our last one, and then 1 and 2. And let's flip it around. And that's the diode. Well, 0. Okay, so there's that gives me a decent number. Remember the last one, the ones I was telling you about, the generic ones, they read real funny. Alright, so the next one says to check 7 and 8. Now let's go ahead and flip our leads around here. Okay, nothing. 7 and 9. Flip our leads around. Nothing. And then they're saying 8 and 9. And I don't have anything, so I don't know if that's supposed to read there or not. So I'm just going to try. They're only using 3 of these pins. 1, 2, 3, and then 8, 9, and 0. So There we go. There's 0 and 9, so we got a diode at 0 and 9. So let's pull up an old one. And my old ones I've marked old on the back, old bad. So let's go ahead and pull this one up over the side. Let's see what we had. I think it was 0 and 9. So we got a good diode on 0 and 9. And let's try 8 and 7. About 8 and 9. 7 and 9, or 0 and 9 are pretty good. So that looks pretty good. Let's go 0 and 8. And 8 and 9. Nothing there. So, alright, so that might still be a good diode. Let's go over here and check 1 to 2. Okay. And let's try 3 and 2. Let's try 3 and 1. So let's, oh, 0 and 2. So that's good. So let's try 0 and 1 here. 0, this is the other one. Okay. And let's try 0 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is good. So 1 and 2 on this one is 1 and 2. I'm not checking nothing on 1 and 2. Okay, so that's funny. 1 and 2 here checks the diode, but this one here does not. And they're exactly the same model. So this one here may be bad. So 1 and 2 is nothing on this one, no matter how I flip it. And 1 and 2 on the new one, and it's off the screen over here. 1 and 2 shows, come on, quit dancing on me. Shows a diode. That's funny. And also 0 and 2, 0 and 1 on the good one checks a diode, and 0 and 1 here checks a diode. So that's funny. This in here, you get a 1 and 2 is nothing. Oh, that, okay. 1 and 2 on this one. Oh, Alright, so that one still may be a good one, but we'll find out. And let's try another bad one. I know it's probably just going off on a tangent here, and I'll just put those in, but let's check it out again. 0 and 1. 0 and 1 are the new one. Let's flip our leads around. 0 and 1. 0 and 1. That's okay. Now let's try our next one, which is 0 and 2. Shouldn't be nothing. Let's flip it around. Should be nothing on 0 and 2. And 0, 2 on the next one over here. On the new one is nothing. So, alright. That's the only bad thing of flipping our leads around. We're just getting them all tangled up. Let's untangle it again. Alright. This is the bad one. This is the second bad one, I do believe. Yes. So, 0 and 1. Read 1. So if we go 0 and 1 here, it reads 1. So if we go 1 and 2 here, reads. 0 and 2 on the new one, reads. Now, let's go, or sorry, 1 and 2. So let's go 8 and 9 on this old one. See how that went up? So let's go 8 and 9 on this, on the new one. Nothing. So this one here has a dead short. See it? That's a dead shorted on that. So that tells me that the one that was causing my issues must have been this one. So anyway, we're going to put the new ones in. Trying not to put these other ones in, but we're going to put them in anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get that put in. Let's go ahead and put them in. Oh, I lost my one light. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately, basically what you do is you tuck them in, you put them in close as you need them. Then but first of all, we want to heat sink compound it. So had to buy a new heat sink compound because unfortunately I could not find my old one anywhere. So what we'll do is we'll put some heat sink compound in here. Come on, give it to me. I don't want to let the ram it out, but it looks like my thing here is stuck. Yeah, that heatsink compound itself is just old. There it goes. Ah, alrighty. Same with this one here. We'll go ahead and put some around in here. Maybe too much, but I don't think it's too much. Didn't want to do that with that either. That's not even a rag. Alright, let me get a rag. Alright, here we go. Now, let's go ahead and lay this one here out of the way. Let's go ahead and set this one in place. Basically, you got to kind of roll it into it. Okay, and then I'll go ahead while I'm here. I'll go ahead and think. I don't want to. I know one of these I think are good. One of these are good. So, alright, so I need the 4 screws. So I've got one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, let's see here. Alright, let's put the screws in. And if these don't work, I should really read the schematic because I've got the pinouts for all this. You'll have to see my bald head just for a second. There we go. Okay, there's one. And this one here is just being a real pain in the bottom. So I've got to kind of give it just a little tuck down here. Just to get that to quite work. Going to a guy, this is new old stock, but we'll see. And go ahead and tighten them on down. Let's do a little bit each time. And then what we'll do is just kind of relieve some of the stress here. Let's see if I can get, there we go. Let's relieve some of the stress on that. We'll release these just a smidge. There we go. That's better. Alright, now, there's our next one. Same thing, we want to roll it in. And put her down. We'll go ahead and do this here. Alright. Now once I solder these in, we will find out and see if the relay will let us do what we want to do here. If the relay clicks in after I solder these in, that means the amps are working, these packs are working. If they don't, then we try generic pack. And this still may be a generic pack, but I just thought it was funny that these were already bent up the way they needed to be. So let's go ahead and solder this in, and then we'll test that part. So we'll go ahead and solder this in. Solder that one in. Make sure it's soldered in good. It's kind of a unique way, but I hear this was always an issue. Even in the Pioneers it was an issue. So hopefully this will work just fine. Hopefully these work. I've got the schematic on. I should really pull the schematic, but you know, we'll give it a shot, see what we got. We'll go ahead and solder that. There we go. Somebody told me once I needed to use a blower for this, which I do have one there, but it's just so loud that Now, a nice thing about the relays, basically it's monitoring the speaker output, I assume, somewhere along the line, and if there's a power going out to the speaker, it will should not let things run. And that's what it was doing. It just wasn't letting the speakers click. So let me get me some alcohol here, and we'll clean these up. If I find the right switch, I will probably tear it down. But on the same token, I'm thinking that I am going to try I'm going to try to, got a little bit of stuff in here. I got a little too much flux in here. It just, I want to make sure it's all cleaned up. Between there, make sure there's no connections. Doesn't feel like there's any connections. Doesn't feel like there's any connections, so that might be alright. So I just want to make sure there's a little bit of flux in between that one. And what I always do is, since I'm getting older and I can't see, you're going to see my bald head just for a second. Just want to make sure there was nothing in between them. Looks good. Everything looks good. Nothing in between them, so that's a good sign. Alright. Nothing in between them. Just wanted to make sure. Always make sure. This is something you don't want to short on, or, well, I assume it just won't work. Alrighty. Just kind of blow some air in here. Kind of dry some alcohol out. Alright. Now, we're going to flip it over. Okay. Flip this over. Okay. And we're going to power it up to see what we've got. So, here we go. Let's power it up. Make sure that's off. It's off. Okay. Here we go. If the relays don't click in again, then we've got a problem. Okay, relays clicked in, so that means the amp's obviously working. So that's a good sign. So that's good. The amps are powered up. Now we won't test it yet. I'm just wondering if this here went over here. This end here, I'm just curious if this actually went here. I'm thinking it did not. I'm thinking that it went to the center, and I think that's what they used to kind of balance everything out. I don't think so, but we'll check. We'll check it. If not, I'm thinking about building something to go here, but I'm pretty sure it was on that. I'm pretty sure that's where that was at. So, all right. So now, one way to find out is we're going to go ahead and let's hook up just a set of speakers, and we'll see what we get before we go any further. And I'm only going to do one side, so let me get around here the camera here. So here is, we'll do the left side. So hopefully everything's all right. So let's see. Here's that. Okay, and here's this. So we'll take this on out. Still have relays, so that's good. Before I didn't even have relays. It just did not. There's no relays. So, speakers are on. So, alright, let's see. Speaker is connected. We'll go ahead and turn it on real quick. Okay. Relays. Okay, speaker A. This is the volume. Doesn't mean it's going to work, so let's see here. Let's see. Source. Make sure everything is out. Okay. Okay, so auto muting. Let's go to mono, at least that will. Okay, let's see if we got. Now it's funny, I've got VU meter, but I don't have any sound. That's interesting. So, got VU meter, that's good. But no sound. So, source. Okay. Still no sound. So, thing is, I've got VU meter, but I don't have any sound. That's weird. Oh, hold on, well, I don't know for a minute.
Opposition.
There it is.
Most people don't realize that Martin Luther King Jr.'s home now was his home.
All right. So, okay, we do have some sound. So nothing else, honestly. But we do have sound. So that's good. So we have
one of his books, and a lady stepped up and bent over as if to begin.
the U meters are all running.
And all of a sudden,
All right, so let me
took a knife out
go
of
in.
her pocket and stabbed him in his chest. And he was hospitalized.
So let's take it off that. So I'm going to turn the volume up. The view meters are off a little bit. We may adjust them, but we're not at that point yet. So anyway, so there you go. So far, we've got sound. So that means the amps are working. So we do have amps. So that means that part's working pretty good. Really good, really. I may, on this is the voltage amp here. I may go in on this, honestly, and I'm thinking about it. I may go in and find some way of heat sinking that, because a lot of people are saying that thing gets hot and it goes bad, which it does get hot. I mean, even that little bit of time, it's warm. Not red hot, but it's warm. The amps aren't warm at all. Of course, we haven't done anything with that yet. So, all right, so we're going to put this aside for right now, and we're going to work on the lights and get those bulbs put in where they belong. So let's do that real quick. Like I said, the switch thing, that's going to be fun, and I may do a video on that. I should have done a video when I was doing it, but I was trying to figure a way of doing it. I think I showed you taking the one part out of that just to use it for, you know, an on switch, and it seems to work fine. Not a big issue. So that's good. So, you know, that's another option for people. Another thing is, I thought if I couldn't have found the switch, which I did not find the switch, because I'm pretty ingenuitive, but if I couldn't have found the switch, I was going to, they make a timer for this, and they've made it, it's been a long time, but I mean they're around, but they've made a timer for all of this. Kenwood did, that had also, I think it didn't give it remote, but it gave it off and on features. I was going to leave the, I was going to go ahead and buy that and leave the amp run, but you know, I mean, so I could use that instead of the other. So right now the left is working, so that's a good sign, very good sign. That means we're getting somewhere after all this time. I've had this thing for a while. So let's go ahead and pick this up. I'm not going to put the bar in yet, although I guess I could actually technically go ahead and put the bar in. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and put this bar back in, and it wasn't that difficult to do that. It's just extra heat sink and probably more support than anything else. So let's just do that. I've got screws for that, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright. My container's getting empty. I've got a container here. It's got everything in it. Alright. Cool. So we'll go ahead and put the screws in. I'm hoping I'm not going to run out of time, because I don't know how much. So far we're not, power-wise we're not bad. Not about power, but memory-wise. But voltage-wise, we're probably getting a little bit on the low side, to be honest with you. So we'll see. I'll just put my screws back in right where they belong. There we go. Now I want to loosen them up a little bit, slide everything. So I say it's funny, it looks even here. So maybe we're all right. So let's go ahead and put this screw in here for just a second here. But over here, it's not lined up on this opposite side over here very good. And I'm not really showing that on video, and I probably really should have, but I'm thinking it's just because of the there we go, that's better. Not a very good heat sink, but not bad. I mean, I've been trying to do some research to find out what this would have cost originally. If anybody out there knows, they let me know. But I never have been able to find what it cost. Alright, so let me go ahead and switch over and we'll put the lights together. Just give me a second there.